What's up, kids? Here your English teacher David once more for another lesson, and in this video you'll learn how to talk about obligations in English. Yes, that's right. We're going to talk about obligations, right? When we express our obligations, we express things like, for example, clean the house, that's an obligation. We express things like do the homework, that's an obligation. We express things like, for example, work, that is another obligation. Feed the dog, I don't know, clean the bathroom, do the shopping, etc. There are many different types of obligations, but first we're going to learn how to express our obligations in English. First, we're going to look at some examples in the positive form, and then in the negative and the interrogative form, and then I'll give you some other examples, yes? But let's start with how we express our obligations. Here we have the positive form. I say I, you, we, and they. Yes? These are the subjects. And remember that we can replace the subjects with proper names. For example, if I say I, well, it's not necessary to say my name because I am referring to myself. Here we have you. It's not necessary either. We can be, I don't know, Nicole and I. Yes? They, an example could be Juan, Pepito, and Daniel. Yes? Those are they. Now, after that, we have to use the verb have to. Yes? It's important, it's necessary to use the preposition to. If we don't use the preposition to, then it's not an obligation, because if I say I have a marker, I am expressing possession. But if I say I have to buy a marker, then in this case I am expressing an obligation. This is more like a personal obligation. So I say I have to, and after the preposition to, after this word here, it's necessary to add a verb, an infinitive verb. When I say an infinitive verb, I refer to, for example, clean. Yes, infinitive verb is a normal verb. So I have to clean the house, an example. I have to go to the doctor. Yes, tomorrow I have a medical appointment, so it means that I have to go to the doctor. It's my obligation, so I have to go to the doctor. Or I don't know, we have to do the English homework. Yes, it's an obligation because I have to present this homework to my English teacher. So I say, we have to do our English homework, right? Those are the examples in the positive form with the first person. First person. Now, let's have a look at some examples with the third person. In this case, we have he, she, and it. Those are third person, and it's possible, remember, to replace them with the personal pronoun. So I say, for example, he can be, I don't know, Juan. Juan, it's a good example. So I say, Juan has to make the bed. Yes, the bed where you sleep, you have to make the bed. So he has to make the bed, or Juan has to make the bed. Now, if I say she, we say she has to fix the TV. I don't know, probably Juana, yes, Juana has to repair the TV. It's her obligation. And well, it is not very common to use it with has to, because we usually refer to it as an object or an animal. Usually people, those are the only ones who have obligations, because my dog doesn't have any obligation. He doesn't have to do anything around the house. Probably wave his tail and no more. But we are going to use he, she, and I, you, we, and they. Yes, that is the first part. Now notice that it's the same structure we use he has to, and we have a verb. He has to make the bed. The bed is the complement. She has to fix the verb. She has to fix the TV. Yes? He has to work, or my father has to work. Yes, in this case we can also use relatives in order to complete the sentences. My father, my mother, my brother, my friends, etc., etc. So this is the positive form, right? Now we are going to take a look at the interrogative form. Now here we are again for the second part, and the second part is the interrogative form. Yes, the questions that we have to make. Now the interrogative form is very simple. We are going to use some auxiliaries that I have previously taught you in other videos. These auxiliaries are a do and does, because these are the auxiliaries that we use in the present form. In this case, we have the auxiliary verb do for I, you, we, and they, and we have the auxiliary verb does for he, she, and it, right? Now, something important to mention here is that when you use the auxiliary does, then the verb has becomes have. It's not necessary to say does he has to work. No, that's not necessary. It's incorrect, because in this case the s here replaces this s. Yeah, so it's not necessary to use it. Now it's very simple. If I want to ask about your obligations, I would say something like, do you have to clean your house? Is that one of your obligations? So I say, do you have to clean your house? You can say, yes, I have to clean my house. Or you say, no, I don't have to. When I say I don't have to clean my house, in this case it means that it's not my obligation. Probably it's another person's obligation, but not my obligation. So no, I don't have to clean my house, or I don't have to work. Do you have to study? I say, yes, I have to study, or yes, I do. Now here we have does he. Does he have to work? Or does your father or does your mother have to work? You say, yes, she has to work, or yes, he has to work. Or you can also say, yes, he does, or yes, she does. Yes, those are the other options that you can have. Yes, because we also have in English short answers. Now, this is the big difference between the questions, the interrogative form in the first person and the interrogative form in the third person. Now, let's get to the negative sentence, but the negative sentence is not an obligation. You are expressing that it's something that you don't have to do. It's something that is not an obligation, right? So I'm going to explain that part to you. Now, finally, we have the negative sentence, and the negative sentence again uses the auxiliaries do and does, but these auxiliaries are in the negative form. Now, the negative form of do is don't, and the negative form of does is doesn't. So I say, for example, I don't have to clean. I don't have to clean my house. It's not necessary to me. It's just, I don't know, my brother's obligation or my sister's obligation. But me, I don't have to clean the house. Or I don't have to study. Yes, because I am not a student. I am a teacher. So I have to work, yes. I have to teach, but I don't have to study. It's not my obligation. Probably yours, you have to study. But me, I don't have to study, right? And in the third person, we have he doesn't have to work. Let's say, for example, my 3-year-old brother, it's a little baby. He doesn't have to work because he's a baby, so it's not his obligation. So he doesn't have to work, or she doesn't have to work if it's a girl, okay? That is basically the negative form of have to, and has to. Remember, it's important to use the preposition to. Because if you don't have the preposition to, then you're expressing possession and not obligation. When you express obligation, you have to use the preposition to, right? Now I'm going to give you some examples so that you can understand a little bit more this in a real context, right? So let's get it started. Oh, hello! Hello, David. How are you? Well, I'm good. I'm great. And you? Well, I'm happy. Now, did you hear? Herbert's got a party. Really? A party? Yes, it's his birthday party. Can you go to Herbert's party? Sorry, I can't go to Herbert's party. I have to go to the dentist. Now, I want you to pay attention to two important examples. The previous example that I gave you was a conversation between two people talking about Herbert's party. So I say, can you go to Herbert's party? Sorry, I can't. I have to go to the doctor because that's my obligation. If I have obligations, I cannot enjoy a party. I cannot go to the party. So here we have two examples. We have, can you go to Herbert's party? I say, sorry, I can't. Yes? Remember the verb can and can't. So you say, sorry, I can't. I have to, that's my obligation, I have to, and after that we have the verb, go to the dentist. I say, I can't go to Herbert's party, I have to go to the dentist. Now we have another example. Can Dana go to Herbert's party? I say, sorry, she can't. Right? Remember, again, we use the verb can. She has to. Notice that in this case we don't use have to, but we use has to because it's a third person and it's in positive. So I say she has to study for the exam. Dana can't go to the party. She has an obligation. She has to study for the exam. That is a big difference between have to and has to. And you will see this example on the exercises that I sent you, right? Now, can you go to Herbert's party? Now, as always, remember that you can text me, you can call me if you have any problems, any issues with this topic. And I think that's it. Not being any more, I guess that we'll see in the other lesson. Goodbye, guys.